Welcome back to Sunrise on the Hill this Wednesday, your morning pulse on politics. Yesterday, President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth addressed the nation's top military leaders at Marine Base Quantico.
The two spoke of getting wokeness out of the military and focusing on merit. Joining us now to talk more about the military summit is Dr. Wright from Princeton University. Morning, Lauren. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, guys.
So what's your global reaction to what the Defense Secretary had to say?
Well, it was very provocative, but I want to remind viewers that not everyone receives the message the same way we do. If we study politics, work in politics, follow it very closely, it makes common sense to a lot of voters. There's probably mixed support for this within the military itself. And the risk is sort of balancing these efforts to increase recruitment with the possibility that you turn people away who are willing to give their lives for this country.
I want to play some sound from Secretary Hegseth when he talks about sort of complaints in the military and how those get investigated. Let's listen.
No more frivolous complaints. No more anonymous complaints. No more repeat complainants. No more smearing reputations. No more endless waiting. No more legal limbo. No more sidetracking careers. No more walking on eggshells.
That, to some, could say we're going to maybe reduce the level of accountability within the military when it comes to complaints. And we know, for instance, sexual assaults within the military. I know you've seen, like many of us, the reporting that has been done over the last few years about sexual assaults in the military. Any concerns there when you talk about something like accountability, especially in an organization like the U.S. military?
Well, there are a lot of concerns, and I think they're valid. At best, people feel a little bit more comfortable. At worst, you have really serious problems with military officials, armed forces not wanting to report something because this is the message coming from the top. And the problem with these accountability debates is it's really in the eye of the beholder. It's really up to interpretation what's worth reporting and what's not. And so the problem is if there's a message of keep it to yourself, that has really bad downstream effects. That's very possible.
So, Lauren, diversity has become a very dirty word with the administration. There have been lots of studies that show how diversity can enhance an organization. And I'm wondering, have there been any quantitative studies or studies that quantitatively look at diversity in the military, how women and minorities may have helped or hurt?
Well, observational data would show that the military has become much more diverse. And then the question is it just as effective as it used to be? Is it just as lethal as it used to be? And it's very hard to tell because, thank goodness the U.S. doesn't get in very many conflicts anymore. And so, that's sort of an argument where you can look at the data and say things are going well, but you don't really know if diversity would have increased anyway if you took away these guidelines and these suggestions to focus on that specifically in recruitment efforts, for instance.
Can I follow with just talking about women for a moment? Women didn't get the right to vote until the early 20th century. And then a couple of generations later, we were seeing women in the military serving like they're serving now. Women generals, right? Women admirals. Can you talk about what that does to women, to girls, to see this snipping of opportunity?
Well, Hegseth has sort of had a mixed message on this. If you remember his confirmation hearings, he had in the past expressed concerns about women in the military, about lowering standards for women. And then when confronted with that very question, he said, well, I'm very supportive of that. And he got a lot of pushback from women leaders in Congress. And so, I tend to think that the really talented women who are interested in entering the military might want to go regardless of the messages coming from the top. But I don't know whether that has a chilling effect or not. It's very hard to tell, but I appreciate the concern. I think that's something to be aware of, the unintended message of turning really talented people away that, again, are willing to risk and give their lives for this country. It's very, very special. And if someone's willing to put their life on the line, man or woman, then, we probably ought to consider that person being in the armed forces.
Class dismissed. Dr. Lauren Wright with Princeton University. Thank you so much for your time this week. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.